There's a phrase we throw around casually: man, child. We use it to describe the adult who refuses to grow up, the boyfriend who can't take responsibility, the partner who relies on others to manage his life while he escapes into games, jokes, or distractions. But what if we've misunderstood the entire phenomenon? What if the man-child isn't just lazy, immature, or selfish, but wounded? What if the behaviors we mock are actually symptoms of a deeper, unseen psychological and philosophical fracture? One that begins long before adulthood, long before adolescence. One that starts in the invisible years of emotional development, often in homes that look normal on the outside. This video isn't about judgment, it's about revelation. Because the man-child syndrome is not a surface issue, it's a sign of a profound emotional dislocation. And unless we understand the hidden wound behind it, we'll keep blaming the behavior without ever healing the source. Let's start with a question that hits like lightning. What if immaturity is not a refusal to grow, but a method of survival? Imagine a young boy, sensitive, intuitive, deeply in tune with his emotions. But instead of being nurtured, he's told to toughen up. Instead of being allowed to cry, he's mocked. Instead of being guided through fear, he's shoved into silence. And slowly, the message becomes clear. To be loved, I must not feel. So he adapts. He hides. He learns to perform strength instead of cultivating it. He turns vulnerability into a private exile and emotion into a foreign language. But here's the paradox: his body grows, his voice deepens, his appearance becomes adult, yet his emotional self remains frozen at the point of that first betrayal, the betrayal of his authentic self. And so we grow up seeing men who can quote facts, build businesses, or lift weights, but crumble when asked to hold space for emotional truth. Not because they don't care, but because no one ever taught them how.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
This is where philosophy must step in. Because if psychology explains the how, philosophy asks the why. Why do we define maturity as external success, but ignore emotional depth? Why do we mock dependence in men, but ignore the cultural systems that stunt their growth? Why do we shame them for being boys in grown-up bodies, while refusing to confront the environment that arrested their development in the first place? Plato once said, "The part of the soul that should rule is the rational." But what happens when the emotional part, the spirited and hungry part, is never allowed to speak? It becomes a ghost. It acts out through passive aggression, through addiction, through avoidance. And so we see the man-child not as a villain, but as a haunted house, a place where the lights are on, but no one's home. Because the boy who never felt safe becoming a man still lives inside, hoping someone will come rescue him. But no one is coming, and that's the tragedy. Now here's where it gets personal, because we all know someone like this. Maybe we are someone like this. Maybe we've been in relationships with them. Maybe we've tried to fix them, love them, mother them. And maybe we've failed. Not because we lacked love, but because we didn't yet understand that this isn't about logic, it's about grief. Grieving the father who was emotionally absent, grieving the mother who unconsciously enabled helplessness, grieving the society that told men to be strong but never soft. And here's the hardest question. How do you grow up when no one taught you how to be human first? Emotional maturity isn't automatic. It's cultivated. It's passed down. And if it's not modeled, it's mimicked from media, peers, or fantasy. That's why so many man-children live in escapism, video games, porn, YouTube, substances. Not because they're lazy, but because those are the only spaces where they feel powerful, autonomous, and safe. And when life demands real intimacy, real presence, real accountability, they retreat. Not out of defiance, but out of fear. And here's the philosophical twist that changes everything. The man-child is not refusing to grow. He is protecting what little of himself remains unbroken. That's why we must understand this syndrome not as a moral failure, but as a developmental delay caused by emotional abandonment. So what do? We stop shaming and start inquiring. We stop mocking and start mentoring. We stop expecting maturity where there was never a foundation for it. And if you're someone who identifies with this, here's your challenge. What are you willing to sacrifice to become who you were meant to be? Because healing isn't about blame, it's about reclaiming. Reclaiming your agency. Reclaiming your timeline. Reclaiming the boy who was left behind and teaching him, finally, how to become a man. Not through domination or denial, but through presence, responsibility, and truth. That's not weakness. That's heroism. And maybe, just maybe, the man-child is not the death of potential, but the beginning of transformation. The mirror of accountability. Why love alone can't heal the man-child. There's a painful truth that many people, especially women, learn the hard way. Love, no matter how pure, cannot fix someone who refuses to look in the mirror. You can nurture, support, encourage, and even carry someone emotionally for years, but if they're unwins, your love becomes less medicine and more crutch. This is the brutal intersection between compassion and accountability, and the man-child syndrome lies right at the center of it. Because he often attracts partners who want to heal him, who believe that if they just love him harder, softer, deeper, he'll finally grow up. But what they miss is this: growth doesn't happen through being loved. It happens through being challenged with truth. And the truth is, the man-child will stay emotionally stagnant as long as he's allowed to avoid consequence. He doesn't lack the capacity to grow. He lacks the willingness to be uncomfortable. We have to understand that love without truth is not healing, it's enabling. And the most dangerous form of enabling is the one disguised as unconditional support. The partner who always forgives the broken promises. The friend who laughs off the irresponsibility. The parent who keeps rescuing him from adult consequences. These people aren't bad. They're kind-hearted, but they're also complicit in the delay of his evolution, because the man-child doesn't need another emotional caretaker. He needs a mirror. A mirror that doesn't flatter or filter but reflects exactly where he is and what he's avoiding. A mirror that says, "I will walk beside you, but I will not carry you." That's what true love looks like. It's not soft all the time. Sometimes it's fierce. Sometimes it walks away. Not to punish, but to protect its own dignity and to give the other person the space to finally confront themselves. Here's where the philosophy deepens. Soren Kierkegaard, the father of existentialism, wrote that despair is not the result of external failure. It's the refusal to become oneself. The man-child is not merely immature, he is in existential despair. He is caught in the tension between the self he is too afraid to embrace. And fear, when left unexamined, becomes a lifestyle. It manifests as avoidance, as procrastination, as sarcasm, defensiveness, or addiction. And here's the catch: the longer he avoids becoming himself, the more fragile he becomes. Because deep down, he knows. He knows he's behind. He knows he's disappointing people. He knows he's capable of more. But he can't bear the shame of starting late, so he pretends he doesn't care. That's not laziness. That's self-protection. But protection eventually becomes prison. So if you're watching this and you see yourself in the man-child, I ask you, what pain are you avoiding by pretending not to care? And if you're in love with someone like this, ask yourself, are you loving them as they are, or are you loving their potential while abandoning your own needs? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary. Because healing doesn't begin with love, it begins with truth. Truth about the wound, truth about the delay, truth about the fear, and truth about the cost of staying stuck. The man-child doesn't need more time. He needs a reason to grow, and sometimes that reason is the realization that no one is coming to save him. Not love, not comfort, not even you. Only he can choose to step into the fire of transformation. Only he can decide that the pain of remaining the same is finally worse than the fear of becoming whole. How responsibility, not rescue, heals the hidden wound. There comes a moment when escape stops working. The distractions, the excuses, the endless loops of "I'll do it tomorrow," they collapse under the weight of reality. And in that moment, you face a choice: continue numbing the discomfort, or finally step into the arena of your own life. This is where the man-child either breaks or begins to build. And the tool he must pick up is not love, not more time, not another person's forgiveness. It's responsibility. Because responsibility is not punishment, it's power. It's the act of reclaiming authorship over your own story. It's facing the consequences of your own inaction and realizing that no one else can live your life for you. Not your partner, not your parents, not your friends, just you. And that realization is terrifying, but it's also the birthplace of masculinity, not the performative kind, but the embodied kind. The kind that doesn't need to control or dominate because it is rooted in presence, clarity, and ownership. Responsibility is the sacred rite of passage that every man must undergo if he wants to be free from the boy within. And yet, we've built a society that makes it easy to delay that passage indefinitely. We reward distraction. We normalize emotional avoidance. We celebrate consumerism over contribution. But freedom doesn't come from more options. It comes from deeper commitment to self-awareness, to healing, to showing up even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. And here's the truth we rarely say out loud: no one becomes a man by accident. It's not about age. It's not about status. It's not even about success. It's about the decision to take full responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, your habits, and your healing. That decision is the threshold. That's where the boy ends and the man begins. But stepping into responsibility doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you never make mistakes. It means you stop outsourcing blame. It means you stop waiting for someone else to fix you. It means you start asking better questions like, what can I do about this? How did I contribute to this dynamic? What am I afraid of, and what would it mean to face that fear just once today? These questions don't always feel good, but they pull you out of the fog. They sharpen your vision. They reconnect you with your inner compass. And maybe for the first time you begin to make decisions not from guilt or fear, but from a place of principle. That's integrity. That's maturity. That's manhood. And when that happens, something changes, not just in you, but in how the world responds to you. Because people can feel when you've arrived in yourself. You don't have to prove anything. Your presence says everything. So here's the final challenge I leave you with. What would your life look like if no one else was responsible for your happiness but you? What would you build? What would you stop tolerating? Who would you become if you no longer waited for permission to grow? The hidden wound behind the man-child isn't weakness, it's disconnection. Disconnection from responsibility. Disconnection from healthy masculinity. Disconnection from the self that longs to rise. And healing that wound doesn't happen by being rescued. It happens by rising. By choosing the path of responsibility over and over again, even when it's hard. Because the truth is, no one is coming to save you, but the man you're meant to be, the one who leads, who loves, who lives with purpose. He's already inside you, waiting for you to stop hiding, waiting for you to choose him, waiting for you to come home.